They reached the end of the line quicker than ever before. At last, a bus came to rescue the passengers. Thomas was waiting at a junction when a bus arrived. "I'm Bertie. Who are you?" "So you're Thomas." "Ah, I remember now. You got stuck in the snow. I took your passengers, and Terrence the tractor pulled you out. I've come to help you with your passengers today." "You can't," said Bertie. "I can," huffed Thomas. "I'll race you," said Bertie. Their drivers agreed to the race going ahead. The station master said, "Are you ready? Go!" There was Bertie fuming at the gates while they sailed gaily through. "Goodbye, Bertie," called Thomas. There was Bertie tooting triumphantly on his horn. Then he heard Bertie. "Goodbye, Thomas. You must be tired. Sorry I can't stop. We buses have to work, you know. Goodbye." As they crossed the bridge, they heard an impatient honk, honk. There was Bertie waiting at the traffic lights. He started with a roar and chased on after Thomas again. Now Thomas reached his full speed. Bertie tried hard, but Thomas was too fast, far behind. They whooshed into the last station. But they gave Bertie a big welcome, too. "Well done, Thomas," said Bertie. "That was fun. But to beat you over that hill, I should have to grow wings and be an airplane." They now keep each other very busy. They often talk about their race, but Bertie's passengers don't like being bounced like peas in a frying pan. They would like to have another race. I don't think they ever will. Do you? Even James laughed when he saw him. "Take care," hissed Gordon. "You might stick too." All the lights went on. What a marvelous sight awaited Mrs. Kindly. Thomas the Tank Engine and his friends thought it was the best Christmas ever, and Mrs. Kindly could think of nowhere she would rather live than here with them on the island of Sodor. "Stop! Stop! I've got Thomas's passengers!" wailed Bertie, roaring up to the gates. It was no good. Edward was gone. "Bother," said Bertie. "Bother Thomas's fireman not coming to work today. Why did I promise to help the passengers catch the train?" "That will do, Bertie," said his driver. "A promise is a promise, and we must keep it." "I'll catch Edward or bust," said Bertie. "Oh, my gears and axles," he groaned, toiling up the hill. "I'll never be the same bus again." "Hooray! Hooray! I see him!" cheered Bertie as he reached the top. "Oh, no! Edward's at the station." "No, he stopped at a crossing." "Hooray! Hooray!" Bertie tore down the hill. "Well done, Bertie," shouted his passengers. "Go it!" Bertie skidded into the yard. "Wait, wait!" cried Bertie. He was just in time to see Edward puff away. "I'm sorry," said Bertie. "Never mind," said the passengers. "After him quickly." Bertie and the passengers waited impatiently. "Hey!" called the passengers as Bertie chased after Edward once more. Seemed to happen at once, and the station master told the conductor and driver what had happened. "Fault," replied Bertie. "Late at junction. You didn't know about Thomas's passengers?" "For Bertie," called the passengers. Bertie raced back to tell Thomas that all was well. "Thank you, Bertie, for keeping your promise," said Thomas. "You're a very good friend indeed." Bertie was impatient too. He was timed to arrive just after Thomas. His passengers found that instead of going straight from the bus to their train, "Late again," he remarked. "We may be friends, but I thought you could go fast, Thomas. It's time we had another race. I reckon I could beat you now." Suddenly, Thomas saw Bertie ahead. His radiator was steaming. "What's the matter?" asked Thomas. "You should be at the station by now. You're late." "I feel dreadful," moaned Bertie. "All upset inside, and driver says he can't make me better." "Thank goodness you're late, too. Can you take my passengers, please? They'll never get home otherwise." Thomas set off again. When Bertie was better, he came to thank Thomas. "I'm sorry I teased you about being late. There are times when being late isn't such a bad thing after all." With a last cheerful greeting, the two friends went back to work. "Please, sir, they've made me a desperation, sir. Please, sir, it's Donald and Douglas. They say..." Bertie the bus was giving some visitors a tour of the island of Soda. Sir Topham Hatt was now waiting impatiently for Thomas. "Quickly now," he said. "Our Christmas tree has arrived just in time. 1, 2, 3. Suddenly, like magic, the station was flooded with lights. And thought of his nice dry shed. It was an important day in the yard. Duck pulled the heavy freight cars wherever they were needed. Bertie looked after Duck's passengers, and the other engines helped too, but the work took a long time. The station's nearly finished. "And on time, too," said Duck thankfully. While workmen repaired the line, Thomas had to shunt freight cars in the yard. Bertie came to see him. "I understand you need my help again." Bertie set off to collect Thomas's passengers. "Hello, Bertie," they said. "We're glad you're here." Bertie drove along the road that runs by the railway. He stopped at each station along the line. Sometimes he stopped between stations to let people off closer to their homes. Later, Thomas spoke to Bertie. "That's all right, Thomas. I'd like to make new friends, but I'm glad to share them with you." "You're a good friend indeed," replied Thomas, "and always will be." Meanwhile, Percy was moving freight cars into a siding. Henry arrived with his goods train. Next, he saw Bertie. "Hello, Bertie. Care for a race today?" But all Bertie could say was, "Ouch! That's another hole in the road." Thomas was still in good spirits when Bertie arrived at the next station. "Huh," replied Bertie. "The railway was supposed to deliver tar to mend the road 2 weeks ago. You can't trust a thing that runs on rails." And Thomas puffed away towards the big station. Just then, Bertie arrived. He looked much more cheerful. "My road's being mended now." "Thanks for all you did," added Bertie. "Now I know I can trust an engine, especially if his name is Thomas." Toby's line crosses the main road behind the station and for a short way follows a farm lane. All traffic halted. "One in the head, grrr up," ordered Mavis. The cars just laughed. Workmen sanded the rails and tried to dig away the frozen mud, but it was no good. "Grrr!" wailed Mavis. With much puffing and wheel slip, Toby pushed Mavis and the freight cars back. Later, Trevor was resting in the orchard shed when Bertie rolled by. "Hello, Trevor. Why are you dozing there like an old stick in the mud?" Then he told Bertie about the vicar's party. "I'll be there too," boasted Bertie. "I'm not sure people will want to ride on an old traction engine after traveling in a smart red bus like me." "Hello, old-timer. I'm taking everyone to the party. People have come from all over the island." Then there was trouble. "Help, I'm stuck!" shouted Bertie. His wheels had sunk deep in the orchard mud. Terence the tractor arrived just in time. "I'm the one who has to plow fields," laughed Terence. "We'd better get you out of here." Using strong ropes, Terence and Trevor pulled Bertie clear of the mud. At last, Bertie was on the road again. "Thank you, Trevor. You're not a stick in the mud at all." "No," smiled Trevor, "but you were, just for a little while." When they reached the station, the man thanked everyone, and Bertie got ready to take him to the hospital. "You look splendid flying along the line, Duck," glowed Bertie. "No wonder they call you Great Western." "Thank you, Bertie." "I always work hard enough for two," he puffed. "I deserve another tender." Duck whispered, "What have you got to do with tenders?" All right, it was a special holiday on the island of Sodor. Bertie the bus was working harder than ever before. He may be on his way to a village nestled deep in the heart of the island of Sodor.
Then they went away, taking George with them. When Rusty and the engine arrived in the valley, a big welcome awaited them. If one morning you were to ride in Bertie the bus, you would run down the winding country road with him, cross over stone-walled bridges, and travel past Thomas's branch line. Then you would hear Bertie's friendly greeting as he sees one of his friends pass by.
Let's see if you can match me, sir. Cash on the way, eventually he passed him. Bertie had to say, "To pass you on that hill, Thomas, I need wings like an aeroplane."
When Bertie the bus arrived. "Have you noticed something?" said Bertie. "Sir Topham Hatt, he, well, seems different," replied Bertie. When the floods were over and the dam mended, hosted by Sir Topham Hatt. "Oh, I'm sure you would be, but you never know till you've tried." And the mine. If there are any ghosts here, they certainly help to make the place very happy. The cheerful sight of Bertie the bus could bring a smile to Percy's face. "What's the matter, Percy?" asked Bertie. "Nothing surprising," observed Bertie. "You never know when it'll happen. Otherwise, it wouldn't be exciting. Toodle peep." It wouldn't. Percy's driver told the signalman, and the yard foreman told him. Hill, they overtook the freight cars. Sir Topham Hatt and Bertie screeched to a halt and waited for them near the top. It slowed the freight cars right down to a standstill. Then the men quickly put. Percy arrived. "Well, what did you think of that?" joked Bertie. "A good chase is always exciting." "It was certainly a surprise, Bertie. A really useful engine should never be surprised by surprise." A crossing lay ahead and the gates were closed. Toad couldn't stop. Worse still, I like helping out here. By the invitation of Sir Topham Hatt, of course.
Smile, you steamers. It's a sunny day. Rum, rum. How about a race, Thomas? Rum, rum, rum. Instead, I guess that means I win. Perhaps another day. Rum, rum, rum.
"This is Harvey." "Like when Thomas and I have a race," said Bertie. "Vroom, vroom." Luckily, no one was hurt. Bertie arrived and was pleased Percy was all right, but he was also very cross. "You've blocked the road," Bertie snapped. He was worried he wouldn't get the gentlemen of the railway board to the demonstration on time. That was the best demonstration of all. They love Sir Topham Hatt's fireworks. Sir Topham Hatt was right. The engines were busier than ever, taking vacationers to and from the airfield. Bertie was excited when he saw Thomas flying down the track. "Want a race, Thomas?" beeped Bertie. Never mind.
Bertie bus is wonderful. Just look at him go.
Bertie collected the brass band and set off immediately. He bumped cheerfully along the country roads. But there was trouble ahead. Bertie's driver decided to take a shortcut. But it was very muddy. Bertie's wheels did not like the mud. They scooted, they skated, they slid, they slipped. "I'm stuck," he groaned. No. Bertie revved his engine, but his wheels spun round and round. He couldn't budge. The brass band were worried. "I'll get you to the concert in time," Edward cried. Then racing along on road or rails, when Percy saw Pegasus flying through the sky, he was... "Hello, Thomas! The children race with eggs on spoons," said Bertie. "I'll race you, Thomas. The first one to the station is the winner." "Better hurry, Bertie," peeped Thomas. "Better hurry, Thomas," teased Bertie as he rattled over the bridge. Then Bertie had to stop at a level crossing. "Last one there puffs hot air," called Thomas. Meanwhile, Bertie had raced into the station. "I won!" shouted Bertie. "I won!" The next day, Bertie and the medal winner arrived with a surprise for Thomas. "3 cheers for Thomas, the #1 engine. Hip, hip, hooray!" "But I still won the race," tooted Bertie. Thomas just peeped happily.
But to beat you over that hill, I should have to grow wings and be an airplane.